What is going on, everyone? How's it going? Hope you guys are doing fantastic as always. Today I'm coming at you with another install for my F82 M4, which is this awesome set of MST intakes. I actually ordered these off of Keys Motorsports, so big shout out to the guys over at Keys Motorsports for getting this product out to me so quickly. Really easy process purchasing and working with them. Very pleased with everything overall. So let's go ahead and unbox these intakes. Alright, so to start, pretty cool. Everything is actually branded under the MST Performance name in its individual packaging. So we'll go ahead and open this plastic up and get this first filter out. Just using my handy dandy scissors. Cut the plastic open. Pull this bad boy out. Pretty cool. I like the red color. Toss that on the ground. Alright, kind of like with my charge pipe video, if you guys saw that. If you guys didn't see that, make sure to check it out. There will be a link to it at the top of the screen. There's also some couplers along with some hose clamps and some screws that we'll be using, instruction manual. We'll open this up in just a bit. Here's something that's pretty cool. I actually already opened this because I was so excited when the package came in. This intake system actually utilizes the bottom half of the stock air box, and it has a rubber sealing for when you go and you close the hood, which is right up here. So in here, wrapped in this packaging paper, we also have our second heat shield for the other intake as well. Pretty cool how they kind of have like the MST brand laser etched into the metal shield. Here's our slot for the MAF sensor. And it looks like obviously this is going to be the shorter piece for the air intake. Now, one thing that's cool, again, these are all metal, like aluminum. So rather than the slightly cheaper feeling plastic intake system, this is all aluminum. Very nice. And here is the other filter, as you can see. All right. So that's all done, and oh, look at that. Kind of has this like sticker plaque. Very nice piece, actually. I'm like super impressed with how high quality this feels, and as you can hear, you know, just very solid feeling. So without further ado, let's get into the install. All right, so as you can see, here's our S55 engine bay. We have our first OEM airbox right over here, and the intake tubing actually travels right down here. So this is where our longer section is going to be going. And then the shorter side of the intake is right over here. This will be really easy to install. So we'll see which one we tackle first. But nevertheless, in order to access all of this, we have our gorgeous carbon fiber strut tower brace that we're going to need to be removing. So in order to get that off, basically there's some plastic shielding right here. So you'll just turn these little knobs a half click, like so, and you just lift up and they come right out. Now there's also a little plastic screw tab that you can take out as well, but I just choose to leave those in. And then when you fold this out, I like to put a microfiber towel down here, and I just set it down like so. The reason I don't take these out is because I always break these whenever I pull them, and so I'd rather not break them. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing, just using my fingers. I'm gonna give it that half click twist. Lift up, grab our microfiber, and just set it down like so, just to prevent the paint from getting scratched. So now that we have access to the bolts that hold the strut tower brace in, there's going to be 10 13mm bolts, I believe is the size, that we're going to have to be removing. And then there's also a smaller bolt, can't remember the size off the top of my head, that's connected to this expansion tank for the coolant right here. Just gotta remove that one and it'll come right off, we'll slide it out. So let's go ahead and do that. So, got the impact driver, 13 socket on it. Let's go ahead and take these bolts out. So the socket for the little bolt that takes out the that's connected to the expansion tank, excuse me, is a 7/16 is what I'm using. Okay, so now the brace is free and no longer secured to the engine bay, so I'll just go ahead and lift up and just kind of pull it out. Be careful, you don't want to scratch the carbon fiber. This piece is actually really expensive. I'm just gonna go ahead and set it down on the ground gently. Okay, so I just realized I'm just gonna tackle this first side of the intake since we're right here in the camera's position here. So we'll be needing to take off our top portion of the air box right here. There's a couple torque screws that we're gonna need to be loosening up, as well as our MAF sensor. Looks like we have a vacuum line here, and that looks to be it. Obviously we have a coolant hose that's also running up here. So first thing we're gonna do is just loosen this up. So I just realized there's quite a few of these little torque screws that close down this air box, and my little ratcheting wrench doesn't have enough clearance to get these ones in the back because the expansion tank is holding it. So what I'm gonna do is remove the expansion tank or loosen it up to push it back just to get enough room to where I can get those out real fast. Okay, so now that these screws have been removed from the air box, we have this MAF sensor right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the two screws and yank the whole thing out. I just find it easiest that way, and then we'll proceed to the vacuum line. So what I also did is just pop the air box off the grommet. All you have to do is just lift up on it, and we're gonna be needing to do that, of course. So I took the MAF out right there. So now, as you can see, everything is pretty much loosened. You can see our stock air filter. And we also have this vacuum line right here that has a clip, and you're just gonna take two fingers, or you can use two fingers on the same hand, basically press on and push out. There we go. It's off like that. And then lastly, we have a hose clamp, the ending portion of the intake towards the inlet. So we'll just take our flathead screwdriver and loosen that so we can pop the rest of the intake off. Okay, so got my handy dandy screwdriver. Okay. And here's our entire air box and intake that just popped right out. So like I was stating previously, this intake system is going to use our bottom half of the air box. So we'll go ahead and take out this filter for now. Let me just move this. Here it is. There's a fair amount of sand actually in mine. So I'm gonna just vacuum that out real quick, and then we'll resume to putting this back on. So now that the sand is all out of this, we're gonna go ahead and place this bottom half of the airbox back in. Cool little feature also, this airbox has a snorkel in it that kind of channels cold air from the front bumper into the new filters that's gonna be sitting right here. Okay, so right here we have our new MST intake as well. I went ahead and inserted the MAF, and we'll go ahead and screw the two MAF screws back on there. Also, another thing to mention is that the new intake will come with this washer right here that's connected to a zip tie. We're gonna be using that later, so just go ahead and cut the zip tie, hold on to that washer and save it. So next up, we'll take our provided heat shield. It's pretty cool. Again, it has that rubber protective covering, and it's the metal heat shield. I'm gonna go ahead and place it over the air box. You're just gonna want to line up the little screw holes with where the air box screws go. So with the new intake, we have this bracket right here, and like I said, there was a washer attached to it that was zip tied, so make sure you hold on to that washer, because when we reinstall the intake, this bracket is going to align with this bolt right here. So we'll need to take this off, we'll put the new washer in, and then tie it down. That's what's going to secure everything in place. So we'll go ahead intake. Want to lift up this cooling hose, get it out of your way. Put the new intake inside the inlet. Vacuum one. And lastly, now that the intake is all secured and in place, go ahead and attach the S&B filter over it. And we'll just tighten down this spring-loaded clamp right here, which is pretty nice that they provided these. And there's our first intake installed. So now we've worked our way to the left side of the engine bay where the shorter intake is. And largely it's going to be the same process. We'll go ahead and start by removing our MAF sensor. We'll take out the airbox torque screws, and from there we'll remove the inlet portion of the intake and we'll reinstall everything else. What's funny is this side is actually a lot easier to do now that we've taken out the larger intake. That side was a little bit harder. I mean, the whole install itself is pretty easy. So we have our inlet, top portion of the airbox taken off. Let's go ahead and remove this air filter since again we'll be reusing this bottom half of the stock airbox. Go ahead and just pull it out. This one thankfully doesn't have any sand or dirt particles in it. So you can see there's a grommet right here. There's another grommet right here. Here's our heat shield. I really like this, the MST logo laser etched into the heat shield itself. Go ahead and reattach it and get those screws on. So now that the bottom half of the airbox and the heat shield have been installed, we are ready to go forward. And so we're going to use this coupler right here that MST provides. We're going to install it over the inlet. Just slide it on and you get two hose clamps. One of those is going to be used to tie down the coupler to the inlet itself, and then the other hose clamp will be used to tie down to the intake. So we'll go ahead and tie down the inlet hose clamp first. So now the coupler is on the inlet itself, we'll go ahead and take our intake and then reinstall. Now that everything is secured, all that's left is to put our new filter on. Attach the new filter. Tie everything down. So the MST intakes have been installed. I am now inside the car. Let's hear how these things sound. I'm hoping they're somewhat loud, at least loud enough to where you can hear it when you step on the throttle, but I'm gonna roll with the windows down. Hopefully you guys can hear, but I'll roll them back up in just a second. God, guys. Okay, not only is that turbo spool absolutely insane, and I really hope it's coming out on camera, but the sound that the wastegates make when they just flare open on this car is like... Wow, that's so loud. What the hell? It's like from 2,500 RPM to about 4,000 is like the sweet spot I'm finding. Oh my god, these things sound so cool. There's also some like flutter when you let off, almost like a blow-off type sound. It's kind of hard to describe it though, but man, does it sound good. I hope you guys can hear that. It sounds so cool. loud. It's such a, you know, it really isn't that loud, but it's such an aggressive amount of turbo spool that it's just really fun. So here I'll do wide open throttle, windows up. So I mean, eventually the exhaust just overpowers the sound of anything in this car. Oh my god, this car is fast. This thing, it's such a riot. Like, driving this car is just, it's such an unforgettable experience, at least in my opinion, you know, and that's why I love owning this car. It's so damn fun. That is going to conclude it for the MST intake install and sound impressions. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, the installation, overview, and sound clips. If you could give me a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Guys, this build is just beginning. There is so much more to come. I can't wait to share more with you guys in the near future. With all that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.